Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. And each stock within the Zacks Rank Buy universe is chosen based on how well it matches criteria comprising the four main investing styles. What are they, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Aggressive growth, growth in income, momentum, and value. Today, we talk about momentum stocks with Mike Vodicka. Mike is our momentum stock analyst at Zacks.com. And, boy, you've brought a real eclectic group of companies with you to this table today. AeroVironment Incorporated, AVAV, the ticker symbol. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, AeroVironment is the name of the company.
I guess I didn't pronounce that right.
It was close.
Okay.
It was close.
What do they, environmental?
Somewhat environmental, but they have a couple of different business segments. Their primary business segment is they develop, design, manufacture unmanned aircrafts, and the primary customer for these, or actually their only customer, is the U.S. government. But they also have another division that develops alternative energy systems, things like wind turbines, solar panels, and they also develop recharge systems for electric motors, things of that nature. So they're kind of progressive in that technology. Now, what we're seeing from this company right now is that their demand is holding up fairly well. Orders are staying consistent from the government, and they have a diversified business profile. And like we know, like we talk about at Zacks here all the time, the alternative energies are very hot, so they have a pretty steady stream of income coming from that, from those areas also. Now, in terms of earnings, they've beat analyst estimates for the last 4 quarters, so they've been able to stay consistent in a choppy environment here. Their most recently reported quarter, September 9th, their income was up 25% from the same period last year, and their earnings came in at 22 cents a share, and that was 4 cents ahead of analyst estimates.
And you have a chart that shows us what they look
like? Yes, I do have a chart. Actually, and this chart is interesting
he asked
here because
inquisitively.
This is a pretty nice chart here because of all the stocks I've looked at this year, this one has performed as well as any. They're deep into the green on the year, and the next year projection is bullish, so there looks like there's good things ahead.
I'm actually working on a concept for the unmanned interview. Talk to yourself. But anyway, next is Matrixx Initiatives, MTXX, the ticker symbol, and they've had another strong quarter, but what do they do?
What Matrixx does is they develop over-the-counter healthcare products. So a couple of their products are cold medications, nasal sprays, and vitamin products. Okay. And this is a segment of the market, again, that's held up a little bit better than some of the other segments. This falls under consumer staples. And typically what we see from consumer staples is demand is a little bit less elastic than other areas of the market. And that's been paying dividends for Matrixx. Their second quarter results reported on October 22nd, really solid. Income was up 29% to $8.2 million. And once again, they came in ahead of analyst estimates, reported earnings of 86 cents per share, and that was 12 cents ahead of analyst estimates. Now, one thing I want to talk about before we move on is that the company noted that their cash reserves increased year over year from $9.8 million to $19 million. And also, interesting enough, is that this is a company that has no debt, and that's going to work in their favor in this environment because companies are having a hard time securing additional credit right now.
I think you'd be a good candidate for that unmanned interview because you just take right over there. On November the 12th, you wrote about Ezcorp, EZPW, the ticker symbol. And again, not one that I've heard of. What industry are they in?
Ezcorp is an owner/operator of pawn shops.
Oh, okay.
And I like to consider this
specialty retail, in other words.
This is kind of a play on the economy because what we're seeing is, as people are struggling to get their hands on cash, the consumers are taking their valuable goods and bringing them into pawn shops. And actually, interestingly enough, I read a story in the newspaper this week that said that there was a guy in Chicago who owns a pawn shop, and he said that a woman came in with a mink coat that retailed at $10,000, and he paid $500 for the coat. I'm sorry, he paid $200 for the coat, and then he turned around and sold it for $500. So I think that says a lot about what's happening on the consumer level here, where people are, selling goods for significantly discounted amounts.
This guy told you this?
This was in the newspaper.
Oh, it was in the newspaper.
I read this.
I was going to say, you're circulating in some bad neighborhoods.
Yeah, so at any rate, so this is what's happening with the pawn shops here, and it's translated into some really nice numbers for this company. They just reported their fourth quarter results, and their income was up 44% from last year, up to $16 million, and the earnings came in at 37 cents per share, and that was 3 cents ahead of analyst estimates.
All right, and then on the 11th of November, you wrote about Genesee and Wyoming, GWR. the ticker symbol, and I'm just going to let you take it.
Okay, Genesee in Wyoming, it's a rail shipper. They operate in the United States and also in Australia. They own about 6,700 miles of rail lines in the United States, and they lease 3,000 miles. They have a total of 10,000 miles of lines. And this is an interesting industry because it's an industry where there's high barriers to entrance. It's not easy for a company to come in and set up business. And one of the facts that I uncovered here while I was researching this company is that it costs about $1 million to lay only a mile of railroad track. So it's a capital-intensive engagement. And that's working in the favor of these companies here. I'm going to move into their fourth quarter results reported on November 4th. Revenue was up 21% from last year. Income was up 30%. And their earnings came in at 58 cents per share, and that was 10 cents ahead of analyst estimates. Now, it's not just a one-time shot here. The analyst community is bullish on the company's future. The next year estimate is pegged at $2.25, and that's a 27% earnings growth projection.
All right, very good. Say, do you own any of these?
I do not own any of these stocks.
Why not? You don't have to answer.
Maybe I will at some point.
If you would like to read more about what Mike has written about on these different companies, or any other momentum stocks for that matter, I strongly suggest you go to Zacks.com, look in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage, and click on either the momentum category or any one of the other investing styles, and you'll go right to the latest story, latest stock, and archives in those categories. With Mike Vodicka, I'm Terry Ruffalo.